Last question. Okay.
You got 3 hours from me, bro. This is crazy. Go ahead.
Wait. You got disconnected for a while too. Okay.
Okay.
And you were a little late, so you know.
Yeah, you got that too. All right, that's true. I gotta ask forgiveness. Go ahead.
So growing up in New York during that era, you got to witness the growth of hip hop, and I'm sure you saw a lot of things. What do you think about how over the years it appears that many people have tried to minimize the contributions of Puerto Ricans to hip hop? Like, what did you think about the backlash that Fat Joe received when he said hip hop was made 50-50 by Latinos and blacks?
Shit, I stand with him. I might go. Listen, graffiti is rap. Breakdancing is rap. Rock is rap. DJing is rap. And rapping is rap. Rapping ain't only the dude on the mic. There was a whole thing going on in the ecosystem that made rap what it is. It was the colorful trains with the messages from Is the Wiz, from the TNT crew, and all these. The community was thriving in making his own billboards, making his own music, and making their own style. No one group did that. When they called for the peace treaty that they made everybody say became Zulu Nation, like KRS says, that's true to one point, but there's some gangs that said we're not joining that shit, and we're not doing the treaty, and we're staying Latino dirty ones, and we're staying the 50 Mad Dogs, and we're gonna keep popping this shit. I'm telling you, the culture was mixed. There's no way that the Bronx, being the Bronx, could ever one race say they made hip hop, walk the Bronx at that day. It was Puerto Rican and black. There was no divide. There was no Cold Crush crew. All those people you see, you might have seen afros in a black man because everything black is black. Some of them were Dominican. Some of them were, you just didn't know it. They were black to you because they had an afro, because they were dark skinned. You didn't know what a Dominican was yet. So how could you not know that it was 50-50? I stand on that. The only person who will disagree with that is a person that's glamorizing and sensationalizing their individualism and thinking that one race made this great thing happen. It was a multicultural between the Latino and black, finding out how to replace their anger with dancing, music, and rapping. And as we mixed our women in the Caribbeans, we mixed our styles in the ghetto. That shit is 50-50, 100%, nothing less.
Why do you think that the narrative is being pushed to lower the contributions of Puerto Ricans in hip hop?
I don't think it's made purposely to lower the contributions of the Latino. It's made to keep in check the contributions of the Latino. Like it was made to keep in check when the Rick Barrys and when we started singing our songs and bringing rock and roll, when we stole it from Elvis, right? We're supposed to have stole these things from them. But really, they were stealing it from our cultures. We played the drums in Cuba. We got that shit rocking. And slave ships dropped off there and mixed with our Latinos and Puerto Ricans. So we've been mixing records with you since we've been taking you, because we seen you were black like us, you were brown like us. We didn't understand why you were shackled. And the Guanabana and the great Indians of the Caribbean start freeing the slaves. Then we start eating and mixing our culture. So now you want to say in the Bronx, you wasn't eating rice and beans and mixing it with us eating sofrito and fucking making rap music in Puerto Rican houses, dancing with our women. Now it's one culture rap. Get the fuck out of here. You must be blind and stupid if you think somebody's gonna believe that, who lived in that time, who had open eyes. Now what happens is, when someone gets the piece of the pie, right? So the Jews and the American dollar had to confess and let us into this music industry. So then they let a black and a white guy share the wealth. So then once we got the wealth, what we do, we duplicate the behaviors of our oppressor. So then once the conglomerate became black powered, it was hard for Latinos to make it through, because if you let one in, you taking one out, right? If you got a new number one, that means you knocked out a number one. But if you 1 through 10 are all black, then you only see that replacing each other. So when white seen rock and roll and all his music in the top 10 be challenged by the black, they won their space, they secured that piece of the pie. Ain't nobody sharing pie in America. Who the fuck lied to you? You got to steal it from grandma's window and eat it while it's hot. So what I'm saying, they ain't going to share the piece of the pie. They don't want to, if they give you if they tribute you and they give you that right, then that means you got the right to claim that profession since it started. So that means our Latino people who've been out in years, they should be out there talking like KRS-One about how they started hip hop, how Latinos were in the beginning and the forefront, how they are the pioneers, using the same words without judgment on the other side that you need, because it was 50-50. Anyone claiming it just wants to be a supremacist of a superior race doing something that happened in unison between cultural people. Yes, they have gotten better in the pie and got most of it, but it isn't what because they started it. We were baking that pie with them, and it was 50-50. So anybody who gives Joe slack for that, they can start giving me slack for it too.
All right, Tone, man. I just want to say I appreciate you. This interview was amazing. I felt like we got to cover a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. I got like 15 questions left because that's how much research I did. So we got to do this.
Yo, part two. Yeah, after you do this show and you do some clips, if they find me interesting, I'll come back. If your group finds me as, he's not in our lane, I respect it, but I hope your community and your audience finds that I just try to be true and bring them a little knowledge of that. I stand on the Latino culture. I don't demise no other culture, but I say, man, we could stand with the best of them anywhere, anyhow, doing anything.
Then you got to rep for your own. So I understand, man. You know, you want good for your own, but doesn't mean that you want bad for anybody else, you know? Exactly. So I appreciate you, man. And definitely we got to do number 2 because it's just, I love your story. It's just such a good story. You know what I mean? From a personal standpoint, I feel like even if this interview could reach one person, I think that it's worth it, that you can really incite a change, right? And I think that's a beautiful thing, man. So I appreciate you, Tone. I salute you, bro. I can't wait to hear more about the good that you're doing with United Way and the people that you helping along the way, man. So I appreciate you.
Remember, everybody, all you need is one mic and your voice to be heard, and give the people a good message, and that'll change the world. Love you guys, and thank you for having me.